One Pride, what's going on? It's your boy, T. Back at it again with another episode of Talking with T. In today's video, we're going to be going over my mock drafts that I did. I'm over on PFS, mock draft simulator for the Detroit Lions. I ended up filling out 3 of them. You guys should check it out. It's a lot of fun. And I can see how draft season is really stressful for GMs. I can see how it's really stressful for players, and I can see how it's really stressful for scouts. You really got to know what you're doing, because when it gets late in the draft, you got to know what you're doing, man. That's a stressful job. And shout out to Brad Holmes, because he does his work. You can really tell he does his work. He's knocked the last 2 drafts out of the park. I'm expecting him to do the same thing. Let's let Brad Holmes cook. Now let's talk about my mock drafts. I had 2 of them where Jalen Carter falls to us to number 6, and I'm definitely taking Jalen Carter if he falls to us to number 6. Arguably one of the best players in this draft, arguably one of the best defensive tackles we've seen in a long time coming out of the draft. And I don't want to look back 5 years from now and be like, why did the Lions pass on Jalen Carter for off the field issues that didn't really amount to anything, didn't really come of anything? And I understand the situation that happened is tragic, but he didn't cause that accident. I'm taking Jalen Carter. I'm not looking back 5 years from now and being like, why did the Lions not draft Jalen Carter? Jalen Carter is one of the best, and I'm taking him at number 6. Now let's talk about the one where he didn't follow us, where Seattle took him at number 5, and I had the options between Will Levis, Devon Witherspoon, and Tyree Wilson. I took Devon Witherspoon, but looking back at it, I probably should have took Tyree Wilson. I'm touching quarterback later in the draft, and I'll get into that later in the video. But between Devon Witherspoon and Tyree Wilson, that's probably what it's realistically. If Jalen Carter's, all these off the field issues get answered, I really believe Jalen Carter's probably going to go earlier in this draft, and hopefully Will Anderson somehow falls to us. But between Devon Witherspoon and Tyree Wilson, I'm probably taking Tyree Wilson, but in this one, I took Devon Witherspoon, and I should have took him later in the draft. I should have took a corner at 18, because you can see my grade right there, got a C- or a B- for Devon Witherspoon at 6. You probably shouldn't take a corner at 6, so I'm taking Tyree Wilson right there if I had to do it again. Now let's get to 18. The ones where I took Jalen Carter, I had a chance to snag Kaale. Do you take 2 defensive tackles in the first round? I'm a fan of that because I've been watching a lot of tape on Kaale. If you added Jalen Carter, Kaale, Isaiah Buggs, and Aleem McNeil, that defensive front would be unbelievable, and it would make the boys that we just signed in free agency way better in the back end, because you're getting pass rush up the middle, you're getting pass rush on the side from James Houston, Romeo Quora, Aiden Hutchinson, and all the boys on the edge. That would be a freaky defensive line. But what I did was, because I wasn't sure, do you take defensive tackle twice in the same round? Probably not. So I took Brian Branch in one of them, and I took Deontay Banks in the other one, the ones where I took Jalen Carter at 6. I don't really know if we should reach on it. I don't really know if we need defensive backs. I want to add more edge. If Nolan Smith's there at number 18, or Bijan Robinson's there at 18, I want to take Bijan Robinson. But let's talk about what I did right here. I took Deontay Banks in one of them. I took Brian Branch in the other ones, and I'm totally cool with that. Now let's dive later into the second round. This is where it gets a little dicey. This is where I'm like, I don't know who all these players are, but I'm going to keep adding to that defense. I'll get my quarterback later in the draft. I'll get my quarterback later in the rounds. I don't need to reach on Tanner McKee. I don't need to reach on Stetson Bennett. I don't need to reach on Hendon Hooker. Those guys will be there, and if they're there, let's take them. If they're not there, let's not reach. Let's keep adding to that defense. That's what you got to do. And I added Dayon Hentley, the linebacker from Washington State, Uzoma from edge rusher from Kansas State. I'm just going to keep adding to that defense, because if you keep adding to that defense is going to be it's going to go from last in the league, and if it goes even from 20 and you pair it up with that defense, yes, the Lions should be competing for the division. Yes, they should be competing for the home playoff game, and they should be. I'm so excited for this season. I'm so excited for how this season is going to roll. My mock drafts probably aren't going to fall the way that most drafts going to go. I don't like mock drafts because you got everybody making all these crazy trades that probably aren't going to happen. I was just trying to make a mock draft for what I would do for this Detroit Lions team moving forward. It's not my call. It's Brad Holmes' call, and I'm glad Brad Holmes is making like those decisions, because like I said earlier in the video, man, it's a scary, I mean, it's kind of hard. It's not scary. It's kind of hard not knowing all these players, how they're gonna pan out in the NFL when you don't even know anything about them. That's why you got all these scouts. That's why you got all the GMs like Brad Holmes, who cooks every year and hits on every single draft pick because he does his homework. He takes the best player available, and that's what I was doing throughout this draft. Best player available, that's what I'm gonna take. Because like Brad Holmes said, if you're picking for position, you can miss out on a primetime player, and I don't want to miss out on a primetime player. I'm gonna leave my mock drafts in the video. Let me know what you guys think. Go ahead, make your own comment what you came out with. I'm excited to see the drafts in a few weeks. We'll see how much better this Detroit Lions team. It's your boy T signing out. I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a great day.